You are on a coffee date, or maybe you're talking to a new coworker. It starts off normal, then they ask a simple question. So, how have you been lately? And suddenly, the dam breaks. You don't just say, I'm okay. You tell them everything. The divorce, the childhood trauma, the insomnia. 10 minutes later, you finally stop talking and you see that specific look in their eyes. The one that says, I need to get out of here. Later that night, you're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, paralyzed by a sick feeling of regret. You replay every word. You feel naked, exposed, ashamed. Psychologists call this the vulnerability hangover. You tell yourself you were just being authentic. You think you were bonding. But what if I told you that your brain wasn't trying to connect, it was trying to survive? This behavior is not vulnerability. It is a defense mechanism known as trauma dumping, or as researcher Brene calls it, floodlighting. It is a sign of a nervous system that is so dysregulated, it mistakes a stranger for a savior. It creates a phenomenon called artificial intimacy, and instead of bringing people closer, it is silently screaming at them to run away. So why do you feel an urgent need to hand your darkest secrets to people who haven't earned them? And how do you learn to hold your own pain without drowning in it? To stop this cycle, we first have to label it correctly. You might think you're just venting, but there is a critical biological difference between venting and what you are doing. Venting is a two-way street. It is boundaried. You ask, do you have space for this? And the goal is to find a solution or move on. Trauma dumping is different. It is one-sided, it is unsolicited, and it has no boundaries. Psychologists describe it as a smash and grab for empathy. You aren't sharing to build a bridge, you're sharing to bypass the construction entirely. You are trying to fast-track intimacy. In healthy relationships, trust is earned slowly. It is built brick by brick. But when you trauma dump, you are trying to build the entire house in 5 minutes. Brene calls this floodlighting. You blast the other person with your intensity to see if they will run away. It is a subconscious test. You're thinking, if I show you my worst scars right now and you stay, then you are safe. But why does it feel so impulsive? Why does it feel like you literally cannot stop talking? This is the urgency trap. When you are triggered, your amygdala, the brain's threat detector, hijacks your system. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic and social filters, literally goes offline. You aren't choosing to overshare, you are experiencing a physiological flooding. Your nervous system views your internal pain as a physical threat, so talking becomes a pressure release valve. You dump the information to regulate your own anxiety. It feels like relief to you, but to the listener, it feels like you just handed them a live grenade.
Now, here is the tragedy. You do this because you are starving for connection. You want to feel seen. But this habit is exactly what keeps you invisible. You are creating what experts call artificial intimacy. In the moment, that intense sharing feels like a deep bond. You think, wow, we really went deep. But it is an illusion. Real intimacy is mutual. It is like a game of tennis. I hit the ball over the net, and I wait for you to hit it back. It is a slow back and forth exchange. Trauma dumping is you firing 50 balls at their head before they have even picked up a racket. The person sitting across from you doesn't feel trusted. They feel held hostage. You have forced them into a role they didn't sign up for. Unpaid therapist, savior, crisis manager. This is called non-consensual emotional labor. You are effectively using them to regulate your own nervous system. And because the human brain is wired to mirror emotions, you are transferring your chaos into their body. You are physically overwhelming them. So when they stop texting you back or when they drift away, it isn't because you are too broken to be loved, and it isn't because they are cold-hearted. They are pulling away because you violated a fundamental law of relationships. You demanded a withdrawal from an emotional bank account where you hadn't made any deposits yet. You end up confirming your own worst fear. You think, see, everyone leaves, but you are the one pushing them out the door. So how do we fix this? How do you learn to be vulnerable without being toxic? You need to master a skill called titration. Think of chemistry. If you pour a volatile chemical into a beaker all at once, it explodes. That is trauma dumping. Titration is the art of adding it one drop at a time. You have to test the waters, share a small piece of your story, then stop. Watch their reaction. Do they validate you? Do they lean in? Or do they look overwhelmed? If they catch that first drop, you can add another. If they don't, you stop. You protect your story. But before you share even a single drop, you need to build an emotional container. When that wave of urgency hits you, when you feel like you must speak or you will die, hit the pause button. Do not text, do not speak. Write it down, record a voice memo, scream into a pillow. You must process the raw emotion yourself first. You need to turn the chaos into coherence. And here is the realization that changes everything. Ask yourself, why does the silence feel so dangerous? The truth is, when you rush to pour your pain into someone else, you aren't actually asking for connection. You are asking for a distraction. You are handing them your pain because you are terrified to sit in the room alone with it. But you cannot build a connection with someone else by abandoning yourself. Once you can sit with your own story, then you can seek consent. It is a simple micro-contract. Ask them, hey, I'm struggling with something heavy. Do you have the mental space to listen right now? This simple question changes everything. It turns a demand into an invitation. It gives them the choice to say yes. And when they say yes, they are no longer a hostage. They are a partner. Here is the final truth. Your story is not content to be consumed by whoever is around. Your trauma is not a currency to buy love. Your story is sacred. True vulnerability isn't about being an open book to everyone. It is about realizing that you are a book that should only be opened by the people who have earned the right to read it.